Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy K, and I'm coming at you with another video today, and we're going to be talking about how to prepare for patch 1.1. So all of us are anticipating the new patch coming up within the next just under a week. There's plenty of new things coming out in this patch. We've got new story quests, new NPCs, new events. We've got a bunch of new craftable items such as portable teleporters, food banks, oculi finders, treasure finders, and of course, a handful of new characters joining the roster. So I'm here to break down what you're going to need to gather in preparation for the new characters coming out. Let's get into it.
I am the least adept with the bow, and that is precisely why I must master it. Shouldn't let your guard down.
Nothing can be accomplished without rules or standards.
Think you can bully me? Pyrotechnics! Oh yeah, rock on! D, Luke! Oh, I can't stand him. Diana Special!
Okay, so the first character is Child. This is the list of all the materials you will need to get the character to level 90. You can find the elemental ores and the boss materials from Oceanide. The elemental ores are going to come pretty easily. You just naturally pick them up and you can craft them to get the higher version of that elemental ore. For example, you're going to need 3 silvers to craft 1 fragment, and then you're going to need 3 fragments to craft 1 chunk. And finally, you're going to need 3 chunks to craft the last one, which is the gemstone. Depending on what world level you are, it will determine how many boss materials you will see per drop. From my knowledge, I believe it ranges from 1 to 3. You can find the star conches around large bodies of water. They look like this on the ground. For the common materials, these insignias drop at any Fatui agent. You can find them around the map and they look like this. These insignias are also craftable to move to the next tier. And finally, Child's going to be using Freedom Books for his talents. You can find them in the talents domain. Next up we have Moneybags Zhongli. This guy is going to be using the materials you get from the Geo Hyperstasis found in Guyong Stone Forest. For the local specialty, we're looking at the core lapis. You can find them all across Liyue and especially at Mount Hulao. They're going to look like this and you can find them up and down the mountain. Slime materials are literally found everywhere. You've been finding slime since the dawn of time in this game. And finally, you're going to need gold talents. You can also get that from the talent domain. And we have Diona. You can find her elemental cores and boss material at the Cryo Regisvine. And for her local specialty, you're going to need Calla Lilies. These can be found at lakes, ponds, and Springvale. We also need to farm arrowheads. Luckily, the Healy Churls drop this like crazy. I don't think you will have an issue in finding these, and you can craft them to reach a higher tier. Diona also uses Freedom Books. You can find this in the talent domain. Last on our list of new characters, we have Jin Yang. You can find Jin Yang's elemental ores and boss material at the Pyro Regisvine, located in Liyue. Now this local specialty is probably the most annoying. They can only be found on cliff faces. That means you're going to have to climb, sometimes extremely high, just to pick up 1 to 3 of these. They're also going to be found in Liyue. I've had a lot of luck looking at the Huaguan Stone Forest. I don't even know how to say that, but usually on these cliff faces I would find some violet grass. And for the common materials, these insignias are dropped by the bandits all over Liyue. You should already have a large reserve of these, but if not, here's what they look like. And lastly, Jin Yang uses gold talent books. You can find those in the talent domains as well. Other things you can start gathering in the game are character EXP cards. At AR rank 40, you run very low on these. You also want to be farming for the field bosses. Every day this resets. They don't cost any resin to farm. They give a small amount of mora and some materials. You should also start farming for artifact EXP. There's field bosses just like these as well that drop some blues and some purples. You can start doing some domains to get some artifacts. They drop a lot of fodder in those domains which you can use if you really want to. You can start farming for the artifacts that you would use on your new characters. For example, you would be using the artifact obtained in the domain of Guyun. You could already tell that this artifact would be good on Zhongli. This artifact here has a typo. It's not supposed to say 35% resistance. It's supposed to say 35% damage to that particular element for 10 seconds. So this artifact here is actually really strong. Worst case scenario, if you don't get the characters you were looking for, you could always use the artifacts that you were farming on a different character that you already have. I'm not entirely sure what will go well with Child because there's no water artifacts. You can probably build hydro damage or something to do with elemental skill cooldowns. As for Diona, there's no cryo artifact either. But for Xinyan, you can go for the Crimson Witch of Flames if you really want her to be DPS. You would also need to start looking into weapon materials. Do not craft the weapon yet, just in case you are unlucky enough to not roll the character you want. You just have the weapon sitting there. But it's nice to have the materials ready to go once you do get the character. You're also going to experience a shortage of weapon experience ores if you keep ranking up weapons on your characters. You can slowly restock these by doing the repeatable quests that occur when you're exploring, and they will give 1 to 2 enhancement ores. Other than that, you need to make sure you're visiting the blacksmith, because every day you can only craft 30 of these mystic enhancement ores at the cost of crystal chunks. You can also find these all over the map. There are also expeditions that you can send your characters on. These will give you a nice chunk of ores as well as some mora. You want to be making sure that you're checking which characters can go where. Some characters will have a reduced time depending on which region they're in. But if you are short on mora, there's a few quick ways to get mora. You can do these points of interest if you have not done already. You're going to get some nameless treasures which you can hand in for I think 100k. And there's a bank in Leeway. I think everyone knows about it, but inside the bank, if you go all the way to the back, there's a chest that gives 200k. Other than that, you're pretty much stuck to ley lines and boss farming. That's your most effective way. Once you've dried up all the avenues like myself, there's a really good interactive map online that you can mark exactly which materials you're after. You can zoom in, figure out where exactly the material is, so you can pinpoint exactly where you need to farm. I'll leave a link in the description if you aren't familiar with this website already. There's a link with the Animoculi resonance stones, which are the finders. You would need 5 dandelion seeds, 5 Cecilias, and 1 crystal chunk. These are all local specials of Mondstadt. I'm not entirely sure what the Geoculi resonance stone is gonna need, but my guess, it's gonna take another crystal chunk, Xinjin and Glaze Lily, which are local specialties of Leeway. And that pretty much wraps it up for the materials that you would need to farm for in preparations of patch 1.1. I know we're all excited. Hope this video has been helpful for you guys. I'll catch you next time. I'm out.